And the technical stuff with the course, the ACLP course, was a little difficult to understand. But Dana and her team kept telling us, just keep going, just keep going. Like, I'd feel like a technical session, I would pause it, but I would keep remember, okay, they would say, just go through it, you'll be fine. And it really helped. So even now, sometimes when we are working, because I am from a non-medical background, right? So, random technical terms that pediatricians will use, or even patients will tell me some issue that the baby has, and I don't know what that is. So sometimes I make a note to make sure I look it up. And sometimes, if it's needed, I do ask them that, could you please tell me what this is? Because we have to keep learning. And as a non-medical background person, it's okay to ask full forms. There are a lot of full forms they use as well.
Welcome to another episode of Voices from the Lactation Field. My name is Dana Hardy, and I am the Executive Director of BeginEd India and also on the executive team of the Association of Lactation Professionals India. We call that ALPI. Today's episode will be a discussion, a conversation between Ayisha Chandni and Tamanna Banhot. And we are so glad that they are with us. They are both experienced lactation professionals and also BeginEd India graduates of the ACLP course. And so we are going to be with them and hear from them as they answer questions that are so relevant to the work we do every week. As we grow professionally together in the lactation field, it's a good reminder that we are learning together. So I turn it over to Ayisha and Tamanna for today's podcast.
Good morning to everybody. I'm so glad to join you all today on the Connect time. So I'm Ayisha Chandni, as Jessica had introduced. So I am an ACLP grad working out of Chennai in collaboration with gynecs and pediatricians. So I would like to welcome Tamanna, who's joining us in from Jaipur. Hi Tamanna, are you here?
Yeah. Hi, Aisha. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me.
Hi, Tamanna. So before we start, can you tell a little bit about yourself? Then we'll probably
Sure,
dive in,
sure.
Tamanna. Yeah.
Right. So I'm Tamanna Bhanot, and I work and live in Jaipur. And I took the ACLP course, which is the Advanced Certified Lactation Profession course via BeginEd about 3.5 years ago. I'd been planning to do it since 10 years, but there were other things going on. But finally, I was able to take it up 3.5 years ago. And I work as an ACLP in Jaipur, and I'm also associated with some hospitals. And I get referrals from gynacs, pediatricians, and now directly via Google and things also, clients and patients are reaching out to me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We'll dive into the questions. I think there are some questions all of
Sure.
us have been really eager to know about. So
Okay.
to start off, Tamanna, yes, you did tell us that you've been wanting to do lactation for some time. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, about your education, your career before this?
Sure. So academically, I have a master's in molecular genetics and microbiome. And then when I moved to Jaipur about 15 years ago, it wasn't easy to find work in this space. But now I'm really happy to have found something which is, connects my bio background and allows me to keep updating that as well. And I took the course because I had a child 10 years ago, and luckily my journey was going well. My breastfeeding journey was going well, but my peers, friends, and people used to reach out to me for questions, thinking, "Acha, iska acha ja raha hai." Like, if she's doing well, maybe she knows the answer. So that made me think that how can they reach out to me? I'm a new mom in the same space with them. And at that point in Rajasthan, there was no one else, who was into this lactation field. And now we are two of us in the entire Rajasthan, and both of us are via through BeginEd itself. Um, so yeah, that is why I took up the course, and that is how I began my journey.
That's amazing. So, as you said, 3 years back, you got into the coursework and then you
Yes.
started doing this, right? So, when you started learning, right, since you're from biology, molecular biology space, did you find any barriers when you started the coursework? Did you find any difficulties or challenges while doing the coursework?
Definitely, definitely. See, it's still technical. Also, I'm already 40 plus, so my coursework, my MSc was so long ago. And the technical stuff with the course, the ACLP course, was a little difficult to understand. But Dana and her team kept telling us, just keep going, just keep going. Like, I'd feel like a technical session, I would pause it, but I would keep remember, okay, they would say, just go through it, you'll be fine. And it really helped. So even now, sometimes when we are working, because I am from a non-medical background, right? So, random technical terms that pediatricians will use, or even patients will tell me some issue that the baby has, and I don't know what that is. So sometimes I make a note to make sure I look it up. And sometimes, if it's needed, I do ask them that, could you please tell me what this is? Because we have to keep learning. And as a non-medical background person, it's okay to ask full forms. There are a lot of full forms they use at the
So as you
hospital also.
mentioned that you actually ask them when you don't know what they're talking about, how do you go
Sometimes, yeah.
about that? How do
Very
you go about that
normally.
initial hesitation of do I sound dumb for asking this
No, I
question, or is
don't.
it about
It used to
putting
initially has to feel, but doctors also see they're happy. They don't want you to sound smug. They don't want that, oh, you're acting, everything. They know you're a non-medical person. So they're happy to really to ask them, oh, doc, what does this mean? Right? What is this syndrome? Because they'll tell me this syndrome, attend to mother. So I'll be like, okay, doctor, can you tell me the syndrome? They'll be absolutely happy. But if I act like, oh, okay, and I go to the patient's room and I don't know what is happening, that's worse, I think. So it's okay to ask. And even patients, sometimes they'll have some medical history with the mother or even with the baby, and they'll have all these notes and they'll bring that to me. And I don't know if all the medical things that can happen or the challenges that people face. Lactation things now over time, because it's been 3.5 years of practice or 3 years of practice, I do know more. But I ask them कि can you explain कि ये NICU stay क्यों था baby के लिए, या can you explain mama को क्या health condition था, and they are happy to explain.
That's amazing. So, backtracking a little bit, Tamanna, when you first started off in the hospital space, when probably the first day you stepped into the hospital, how did it feel like? What were the barriers you felt when you entered
Sure.
the space?
So luckily, the first hospital I joined, I was backed by my gynecologist. So the lady, the doctor who was my gynecologist with both my kids, she's the one who pushed me join this hospital. But definitely, because she was standing, nurses were standing, and then they're like, okay, aap counsel karo. Okay, they're like, counsel the patient while they were all watching. So I did it. And that mom, I'm still in touch with. She was my first ever hospital client, and I'm still in touch with her. She doesn't know she was my first client. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely grown from there, right? And it was a very basic thing. And the gynec also was giving her inputs. Now I'm confident now. It could be a gynec, a neonatologist, or a pediatrician. If they're there, I'm happy to counsel. But usually they do give you your space also. So this is also something as lactation counselors, if you feel that if you don't want to do your counseling in front of doctors and nurses, you can find that space in the hospital or even in your personal OPDs when patients come in. You may not want to counsel a patient with 3 family members. So you have to say this. You can say that one person can wait and the rest please wait outside. They are respectful of that. But yeah, definitely. I'll tell you a funny thing I noted. So the second or third day, in my hospital visits, the nurses were discussing patient lama ho gaya. So Rajasthan is mainly Hindi oriented, right? So patient is lama, patient is lama. And the only lama I knew with my children is the animal lama. There are these books, Lama,
Yeah,
Lama, where is Mama? I'm like,
yeah,
the patient is lama. And then, gently ask the nursing floor supervisor. She's saying, ma'am, leave without medical, leaving against medical advice. I said,
against
okay. So,
medical
forever
advice.
then, and the nurse was also laughing. I said, the nurse, lama ho gaya, matlab. But she was normal about it. So and now the nurses are my buddies. They'll give me information on the patients. They'll help me out. Ki, acha, isko first, go here first. Maybe next go there. That one needs you. So it took a while though. That took a while.
But Tamanna, from going from, like you said, the first time you went in, they were all standing and looking at you, right?
Right.
To now, they've given you the space that, you can handle it, you can do it in your own space. From that transition to this, what did it take? What did it take on
See,
your
it
part?
took time, a lot of time commitment, and you have to make sure, like, if you're given referrals, you do those referrals. Even if like, the doctor shouldn't feel that you're not committed enough. Okay, then they'll take you seriously,
Yeah,
because especially from a non-medical background, they will not take you seriously if you're taking more leaves than they are, if you're not around. And if you
yeah,
miss something, it's also important to report. Like sometimes I do miss seeing patients, right? Sometimes the day is so long, and that was a point that I'm going to probably cover in my advice to people getting into this field. So sometimes you miss seeing somebody, then I message the doctor or I'll tell the nursing staff, you please inform that this visit was not possible and this is the reason it wasn't possible. So yeah, definitely like
okay.
determination, hard work, and you have to keep updating yourself. So the doctors will also feel that, okay, She knows newer information. And sometimes, trust me, pediatricians and gynacs are also stuck in, like, old school things that maybe they know, and they're also okay to know from you. Okay, there are these new devices you can use, and there are these aids to help. So yeah, you have to kind of just keep going.
So in a way, the way you have put it across, I what I understand is we collaborate with them, right? We try to
Absolutely.
communicate with them, go back to them, and for example, if somebody has referred a patient to you, you go back and update the doctor saying this is what has
Absolutely.
happened, and then this is the care plan I've provided. So how do you work around care plans together with the gynec or the pediatric unit? Like, do
Sure.
you form care plans with them?
Sure. So, in our hospital, everybody who I visit gets a printed out basic information on breastfeeding. It's the breastfeeding basics. We
Okay,
also encourage antenatal visits, which
okay,
means when they're expecting, the couple can come to me and take one or two counseling sessions. But it's
okay,
not everybody is doing this. Some gynacs are encouraging it, so they're a little bit better prepared. Now with the
okay,
care plan, yeah, over time, like I know which gynac, and we do have to, whatever we are doing, we have to keep in mind what the gynac prefers. Like some
correct.
gynacs are very particular about saying no to pumping the first few days, no matter what. And sometimes, as a
Okay,
professional, if you think it's very important in terms of health of the baby, then you can discuss it. But you should just know
okay,
what the gynacs like. For example, pediatricians, I have gone up to them and taken basic notes of information. Doctor, what is the weight gain range that you look at? So then I know.
okay.
And yeah, I make a plan
So you
at the
try to
hospital
understand their
what they
preferences so
also
you
want.
work through
Absolutely,
those.
absolutely. And in my private practice, like say if somebody comes in, then I check their Dynac file and their pediatric file. And
Okay,
just I have a basic, and I do ask them because sometimes also cross-checking. My gynac told me this, and technically it has nothing to do with me. So I tell them that this is out of my purview. You will have to check with your gynac. And sometimes
okay,
they just need reinforcement. I have a cold and cough. My gynac has given this medication. Of course it's fine, right? Because the gynac has given this, and we can also look it up on the database. And I tell them it's safe to take it, and if your gynac has taken it, so we have to make sure we support doctors as well. And in my private practice, because they might be from gynacs that I don't know or pediatricians that I don't know, but I just have a browse at their files.
okay. That's nice. That's nice. So you make it a point to document all of the conversations, like all of the information that is
So
passed
I
from
am
the team.
trying my best. Yes, yes. So we do make a plan of care. So I take like
Okay.
we will not call it a prescription since we are non-medical, right? So, but at the
Yeah.
hospital, they give me a hospital logo paper, and at home, I have my normal OPD paper. So in that, I write what their concern is on one side. Then I write their current feeding status. And yes,
Okay.
I make a plan of care. And in the plan of care, I am very clear to tell them that, see, I'm advising many things. It could be like phase out bottle feeding, latch the baby more, drink more water, feed
Mm.
around the clock, or feed on demand. So mom may not be able to do everything right away. So I tell them this is not like everything is to start from day one like medicines do that a doctor gives, right? This is a plan
Yeah.
of care. Whatever slowly you can start achieving is what we recommend. And I definitely make sure I write plan of care on top so it doesn't look like a prescription. And
Prescription.
usually I ask them to share it with me on WhatsApp if they're in the hospital, and if they're in my
Okay.
OPD, I myself take a picture on WhatsApp and share it with them that, see, we have it electronically also. So if you
Yeah.
want to reach out, then we can do a follow up.
Okay. So basically, you also come up with short-term goals with them, not just making it feel very overwhelming for the mother. You give them
Right.
a plan of care and give them step-by-step goals on how to achieve whatever they plan for.
Absolutely. And in my experience, very unlikely that they'll do all of that before the
Yeah,
follow up if they do come in for a follow up. So we really
that's
encourage follow-ups, but yeah,
mhm.
sometimes it doesn't happen because, or sometimes, which we'll talk about later, sometimes you have surprisingly good follow-ups where they've just come to tell you that, hey, I'm doing so well. So that's
Doing
also
well.
a really good,
That's
yeah,
amazing. That's what keeps us motivated, right? These good follow-ups
absolutely,
are the ones which keeps us excited for the next visits.
absolutely.
So before we move on to the next question, can you like walk us through a probably a day in the hospital, how what it looks like for you from the start
Sure,
to the end?
sure. So I'm associated with three hospitals in Jaipur,
Uh,
but I don't have to go to every hospital every day. Two hospitals are divided in the days of the week. So thrice a week it's one hospital and thrice a week it's the
Okay,
other. So
okay,
usually in the morning, like today I started early because I had this call. I knew that 11 to 12 I've, kind of set aside for this. So today I reached about
okay.
at 8:30 for my IPD rounds, which is inpatient department rounds.
Inpatient.
So the
Okay,
patients who are admitted, the ones who are either getting discharged or had a normal delivery or a cesarean section in the last 2, 3 days. I visited them. And now, since it's been a while with the hospital, the staff knows whom to tell me for. Certain gynacs want me to visit all their patients. Certain
Okay.
gynacs have still, even after 3 years of being in the hospital, have not seen the need that I visit everybody. But yes, now they've started giving referrals. If some patient says, "Mujhe problem hai, I'm having a problem," then they give me the referral. So
Okay.
I do that. So first, I usually try to finish my IPD rounds by
Okay.
11:30, and 11:30 to 1:30, I have OPD at the same hospital.
Okay.
But it doesn't always go on plan
So
on
OPD is
what is
outpatient, right?
outpatient department. So I would go to a small chamber that I share with a dietitian, physiotherapist, and all those people. So 2 hours we
Okay.
have. And I go
Okay.
there and I wait and I sit, and patients come in. And now, since patients have my contact, they know my days, they started coming in. Now, think about OPD timings. If you tell them 11:30 to 2, they come at 2:05, thinking, "Okay, you will see me for sure." So I've started being a little strict about that, because I've seen all the doctors also very strict. That, I tell the billing department कि आपका last billing is time पे. And of course, if it's something like the neonatologist have referred a patient that really needs some care, and ICU baby has just
Yeah.
been discharged, then I definitely see them. But patient who was supposed to come at 12, oh, I just got delayed. Once in a while, I've started saying that, now I'll have to see you another day.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that's what I do in the OPD. And then second half, if I have to take any private OPD appointments, then I usually take them
Mhm.
one day ahead. So if they want to
Okay.
see me at my private OPD, usually I tell them one day ahead, unless it's an emergency.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't work a full day, so I'm not working till evening yet. I do so after about 3, there's maybe 1 or 2 appointments later in the evening, and that
Okay.
is what my usual day looks like.
Okay. So this you end at the hospital, and then do you have your
Yeah,
own
by
practice
2:33,
to
I
come
end at
to?
the hospital. Yes, yes. And sometimes OPD is like I'm sitting there for 2 hours and there is nobody. So I'm reading up and things. And sometimes there are like 7 people and I'm looking at them. I'm like, oh God, I have to finish faster, faster. But of course, it takes
Hmm.
time. So it's better to take longer, because, our
Hmm.
sessions take really long. They're not as quick as the doctor's sessions. So yeah, sometimes it takes longer. And sometimes the day ends early also. And sometimes it goes for
Okay.
much longer.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So, will you like to share some personal, some professional successes that you've had? Something in the recent past, something which has brightened your day
Sure,
in terms.
sure. Sure. So, first I started out with one hospital, right? And then when the second hospital reached out to me, and when I met them, I was happy that they were okay even if I come twice a week, right? Because I was already associated with one. That was also something that made me feel good. And in the second hospital, the doctors already knew my name. They were already that, okay, we know you work with a certain hospital. So that was a good thing. Now, in terms of patients meeting me, uh, two incidents. One is a very incident that makes us feel good in terms of feedback. So, like I was saying, I had a patient come in for a second, a follow up, which again is very not very common, because so many times if things are going okay, they don't come follow up, and they only again come when things are again not working out.
Yeah.
So, luckily, this patient came for a regular scheduled follow up. I told them to follow up in 5 to 7 days. They came.
Okay.
And when I had met them the first time, it was about a 37-weeker baby, right? So baby was born at 37-week gestation, first child, and mother was
Okay.
fine health-wise, everything was fine. But they were bottle feeding when they met me. And pretty much, I
Okay.
would say 90% was formula. Mother's milk supply was very average. Like, we checked also and we tried to hand express also. But in one
Okay.
week, the mom said that now we have stopped the bottle. Of course, we advise, no bottle feeding till breastfeeding is established. So
Mm-hmm.
in one week, when they came for the follow-up, one baby was about 60% on breast milk,
Amazing.
EBM and breastfeed, no bottle feeding. And mom was keener on now removing that 40% of formula also. And very less stressed and, not worried. The first
Amazing.
visit was very, like, she was very harrowed, and the second visit. So, and she said, after we met you, we just changed things. So that was a really good thing. That made me feel
Amazing.
really
Amazing.
good.
So, was this a
And
referral through a gynac or a pediatrician, or
this
just
was
a
actually
pediatrician?
a follow-up. They were at the hospital that I work with, but they hadn't chosen to meet me. So some patients also, might tell the resident staff that no, we don't need to meet the lactation
Yeah.
consultant. So they hadn't. So then they had come to my OPD because they were facing some challenges, and then the follow-up was also at my OPD only.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So this was one, and there was one very funny, cute thing that happened literally like 2 days ago. So I was
Okay.
asking, I don't know if you guys also, encourage patients to not tie up their head. Rajasthan has a lot of like tie up your head and sar dhak
Yeah.
ke rakho to keep yourself warm. So when they're very warm, sometimes it doesn't make sense to keep yourself too warm while breastfeeding, right? So usually when I walk into a room, I always tell them that aren't you आपको गर्मी नहीं लग रही? Aren't you feeling hot? You can remove this if you're feeling hot. So I walked in and I told the mom that aren't you, because I knew I had met her antenatally, so I was speaking to her in English.
Okay.
I said, aren't you feeling hot? And the husband was standing next to her. She said, yeah, doc, yeah. A lot of people end up do calling me doc, and I correct them.
Yeah.
Yeah, doc, I'm hot. So the husband says, yeah, babe, I know you're hot, but wo पूछ रहे हैं, are you feeling hot? Just a joke. Obviously, the husband knew that, and both all three of us were like nicely laughing at this, and the mom also just relaxed and she's looking at her husband like. So it was so nice that the husband is being so cute and in such a
Yes,
stressful kind of
absolutely,
moment
absolutely.
where mom is definitely looking like tired, and so that was
Yeah,
something quite funny and fun to
that's wonderful.
observe.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, since you mentioned the part of calling you doc, how do you deal with it when patients call you doc
I
or
keep
doctor?
correcting them. My doctor, nahi. Even nurses, and I nurses ko to I tell them that listen, the doctors will get irritated with me. That this is, they are calling this lactation consultant a doctor. Then sometimes in my billing at a certain hospital, they had put doctor in front of my
Doctor.
name, doctor. That I had to go to the billing counter. And why we don't have that title. Maybe at some point I'll do a PhD and I'll get the doctor thing with
Yeah.
me. But no, I do correct them, and they are smiling and they're happy. But sometimes they still repeat the same thing. But I do make
Mhm.
sure that if I'm with doctors and somebody calls me doctor, I do tell them that मैं doctor नहीं हूँ. I'm not a doctor. I'm a lactation consultant. You can just call me Tamanna.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
interestingly, the place where I work, there is a Dr. Aisha. So
I
sometimes I get
see.
confused whether they're talking to me or they're actually referring to the other Dr. Aisha. So I ask, lactation consultant or general physician, and then I clarify that no, I'm not a doctor. She is a doctor. Go see her. Very interesting that sometimes, but with saying calling you a doctor, there also comes a line where sometimes they ask you to, can you recommend a medication? Can you
Sure,
recommend a
sure.
galactic bag? What do you do about those
Yeah,
things?
so I do make sure that this is not like I don't recommend any medicines. I can't advise you on any medication to take. You have to contact your gynecologist or a
Mm-hmm.
physician. And they'll keep saying, but ma'am, and not just medicine. Sometimes they want to ask me about some boil on the baby, or sometimes they want to ask, कि आप एक बार check
Yeah,
कर लो. So I have to tell them that, yeah, definitely मुझसे, I cannot advise you on this. I'm
yeah.
not qualified. And then they're okay. Then they're fine to,
Okay.
yeah. And one more point, I wanted to say apart from doc, there's such funny names that because now people don't know this lactation counseling, and so the nannies in the hospital will say वो दूध पिलाने वाली मैडम आएंगी. So I keep telling her कि मैम कि दीदी आप at least तमन्ना बोल दो. Okay, or
हम दूध
somebody
नहीं
will
पिलाते.
हम दूध नहीं पिलाते, or and they'll say कि आप दूध पिलाएंगे. They'll ask me that, and obviously in Hindi it sounds so funny. मैं नहीं
Yeah,
पिलाऊंगी
yeah.
दूध. But yeah, these are just some funny moments that patients ask me.
Funny, funny.
I've also been asked if I specialize in lactose intolerance. Like somebody had called me up that, ma'am,
Wow.
I have lactose intolerance for so many years, and a man.
Okay.
So I said, no, no, because they just saw lactation or
Lactation.
counseling. So I had to correct them that नहीं नहीं मैं lactose intolerance में नहीं help कर सकती.
This
Yeah.
is so funny. So, Tamanna, what would your advice be for the new lactation students, people who have just graduated, people who are still finishing their coursework? What advice would you like to give them?
Okay, so first about your coursework, definitely, keep going at it. Don't pause for too long, because we pause for too long, that inertia sets in. Then you're like, oh, I still have so much left. Just keep doing it, set a timeline. And I know that I think towards the end, I had even reached out to Dana to say that, Dana, I'm finding it difficult to finish. They had sent me like, they'd help me kind of finish it and take the exam. No, just do it. So you can reach out to beginner. Dana, am I right? Is that something they can do just to get a little bit of push?
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
there's always a little push available, but
Yeah,
also like a study plan
yeah,
that
yeah,
helps you. Also, like sometimes we can find people who are in similar points in the course, whether beginning or ending or in the middle. And so even having that peer accountability, that
right.
really helps move forward, because this is how it all began. I was doing my coursework alone, feeling like, where are all the lactation professionals around me? And so that started LB and Begin Ed India and all of these things. So you're not alone. we've worked really hard to build a strong community. So please, if you feel that way, let us know, and we're here to support you.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And even
Thank you, Dana.
the groups are also really helpful. Like after we graduate, the grad group is really helpful. We end up discussing so many cases. So even if
Yeah,
every time a case is not there, not the solutions may not be given, but at least you kind of read and you understand, oh, this can also be something. And then sometimes there's such wonderful solutions given by people who've gone through that,
true,
or even there who the doctors on the group also. So you keep learning from the groups as well.
true, true. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm just going to take one question from the chat because I think it's
sure.
relevant. So, could you please tell us how it works to have tie-up with different hospitals? What are the employment terms like and timings?
Sure. So currently at both the hospitals, I'm a visiting consultant. I'm not an employee, so I'm not on their
Okay,
payroll. I get paid per visit, and there's a certain sharing percentage.
okay,
Generally in Rajasthan, it's an 80-20 sharing percentage. So 80% usually goes to the person, the consultant, and
okay,
20% the hospital keeps. But some hospitals also keep 60-40, 70-30, right? This is how it works. And the
okay.
charges can vary, right, from region to region. In fact, we had tried to create kind of like a feedback form to find out from lactation consultants all
Mm-hmm.
over India. And
Okay.
hopefully I'll get to analyze the data. We've had a lot of people have filled out that form, right, Dana?
Mm-hmm.
We had tried to find out just to kind of find out what people are charging, what are they
Okay.
happy with what they are being paid. So yeah, that's how my terms and conditions are with the both the hospitals. But there are positives and negatives. So when I can't make it, they don't cut anything. They don't, they don't. I'm not really answerable if I can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the day I take a holiday, there's nothing, right? So there's no paid leave and all of that. But some people also work on like you're an employee and then you're
Mm-hmm.
visiting patients, and then maybe some percentage of that they might give you, or your salary might cover visiting everybody. There are different
Okay.
terms and conditions that uh, patients do. And of
So
course, in
it's based
OPD,
on the initial contract you have with them.
yes, absolutely. So in my case, I think I was the first lactation consultant with that hospital. So they
Okay.
just said, okay, we'll try it out, see how it's going, which actually I should take a reminder. Let me renew my contract. Let me push them for more. So
Okay.
yeah, and this is some advice that I would like to give everybody, that try not to do too many things for free, because what happens is, once in a while it's okay, like you've done something. Definitely, if it's a patient that you feel it's a needy patient and all that, you do it for a lesser amount, but definitely don't do it for free, because people end up taking that for granted. They don't value it.
True.
And even doctors, like even if I get a referral, if a doctor tells me I'm sending my sister, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure, I'm pretty comfortable now to send them the information on how to book the appointment. And
Mm-hmm.
but if it's a doctor in the hospital, like at Surya itself, it's one of our doctors or one of our SRs that I'm
Mm-hmm.
visiting, then yes, those are we internally, but they also, like, the pediatrician doesn't charge me for taking my children to the
Okay.
same hospital. But otherwise, I pretty much charge everybody.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you take the first step towards approaching a hospital?
So what I had done is I had my resume, I had my printout of my ACLP certificate, and I had this hospital. In fact, they had asked me to come in for some baby shower talks before I joined them.
Okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and those I had done for free. I had told them that I can do them. So once or twice I did their baby shower talk. Then in the baby shower, some of the patients had asked me, can we visit you? So that time I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even have my own OPD space, and also I'd asked the hospital, how should we do this? Then I just done one or two consultations in their chambers. And
Mm-hmm.
that is how it started. Then of course the HR had asked me. Then this is how I had started.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, so what are actually very recently somebody asked me, they were shifting from an IT field to lactation, and they wanted to know if they will get the paid the same amount. And I had to be very honest and had to break their heart a little bit by telling them that you have to set realistic goals. You cannot
Correct.
expect the same kind of salary here. But yes, eventually we the hope is we all get there,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Eventually, that we want to keep increasing our charges, not because, oh, we need to earn more, but we are spending so much time and there's so much going before a consultation, during the consultation, even after the follow-ups and all that. Yeah, definitely. So it took me a while also. I think because I was just on a visiting basis. So my
Mm-hmm.
first few months, I was getting maybe three digit, four digit payments, for like very under 10,000, 5,000, 7,000 the entire month. I would look at that and like, really, that's what I've made in the entire month. But there were very few visits. Then slowly, as patients also now started knowing who I was, doctors understood that, okay, no, she's around, she knows what she's doing. And
Yeah,
see, for doctors, if they find a reliable person to outsource their lactation and breastfeeding issues, they're mostly happy to do it. So
definitely.
neonatologists also
Definitely.
now they've started. In fact, both the neurologists at my hospital had their
Hmm.
babies in the last 2, 3 years. So I was able to give them also a little bit of support. So
Amazing.
that's how, yeah,
See, it's always more than what we tell our clients. It's about how we make them feel. So, the end of the
absolutely.
day, if you're giving them confidence, you're making them feel more positive, they're more than happy to pay the fee. But as you said,
Right.
no, when you do too many services for free, it's taken for granted. And I think in the initial days, we all make that mistake. We all make that
Absolutely.
mistake to offer our services for free, and then we come into this road.
Right. Also, like limit the support that you're offering for free. Say if they've done a consultation with you, you explain everything, maybe re-explain it when they leave. And then they'll always
Hmm.
say, can we ask you on WhatsApp? Now, you know what happens is WhatsApp is like a black hole. It will take you in with this,
Okay.
and everybody feels hum to ek, we've asked just one question. So you can see now I on my WhatsApp have made some like these template messages that sometimes I reply, say if it's an out of office thing, then I send that and I say that currently we don't have full connectivity, we have limited connectivity because if it's not an emergency kind of question, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Or I say we won't be able to help you with this via WhatsApp. I would like you request you to book an online or in-person consultation. And sometimes,
Absolutely.
yes, you lose that person, right? Because they're not willing to pay. But that's okay. I feel that's okay because if they're
And I
not
think
willing
it's
to pay,
necessary also, right, Tamanna? Because there are some questions, like you said, no, they just think it's one question. But that
right,
one question, we cannot just give a yes or no answer or just with one line. You have to know
right,
so much about the client. You have to ask history. You have to understand how feeding
absolutely,
is gone. You have to invest some time before you can even answer that one question.
absolutely.
Right? So it is not as simple as, like you said, it's not as simple as just answering one question, because
Answering,
I
yeah,
face a similar challenge in my support groups. Because
I
people think they're in
see.
a support group, they think they can have all the answers there. But then
Mm-hmm.
I tell them that, see, this requires more time. I have to actually spend more time understanding your situation. So let's have a call, let's have a consult. So book a consult, and then we'll have a call together and
Correct,
discuss this. It's
correct.
very important to actually draw that line also, set those boundaries also as a professional.
Absolutely. And also, deciding how much you can do in a day. Like, I still find it challenging to sometimes. I need to start saying no more, or I still need to start making my work hours very defined, but that's not
Defined.
happening. It's not yet very defined. But yeah, because also a lot of some of the consultations or the counseling sessions are emotionally draining for the lactation, for the LP also, right?
Definitely.
After a while, right? So now if you do too many of those, then you're not at your best self when you're doing the fifth person in a row back to back, which can happen at hospital OPDs. So now at
Hmm.
hospital OPDs, I also take a moment sometimes, and sometimes you don't even have a minute to drink water, right?
Yeah.
So I do, tell them कि मैं 5 minute पानी पी रही हूँ, or I'm just like having some one or two nuts, or sometimes if it's been really long, I do go and tell the billing staff that no more billing for me today.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that just to
It's very
regroup.
important also, no? Because
Absolutely.
I remember in the early days, I used to feel very guilty to say no to a client.
No,
I used
correct,
to feel like that mother really needs me. How can I say no to her? But
correct,
if we as lactation professionals are overworked and drained out, you're not going to be able to give her advice or a proper care plan from a space of clarity. Right?
correct,
We are going to be bungled by the fact that, oh, I have been here doing this from morning. I cannot think clearly. So I
correct.
think like you said, no, you take that time to go drink water or even have some nuts
Water.
and come. You
Yes,
need that space to heal before you go and try to help somebody else.
absolutely. And the key is to remember it's lactational professional. Like, this is our professional role, not
100%.
our role always. So, because when Aisha mentioned this, and that's when it occurred to me, it's so important. See, we call ourselves lactation professionals. So we have to be professional in our, timing, in the way we are,
Definitely.
yeah, interacting with people also.
And I
There
think
was
when we
this
set those boundaries, people adhere to
are
that eventually.
respectful. Absolutely, they are respectful. I had seen something cute online that it showed a battery, that recharge your battery when it's in that yellow zone, right? Not when it's
Yeah.
red. So we always plug in our phones. We're so sure to plug in our phone before the battery goes red, right? So we have to remember to do that for ourselves also, that
True.
recharge, take a pause. And this is also where I feel the grads group, Dana, Begin Ed, they keep emphasizing this even when we've met for retreats. So the retreat is something like last to last year, I'd been for the retreat. And
Okay.
that is also something I would recommend new graduates. That was my first time. I was very new. I didn't know anybody except the beginner team. But meeting so many people, some who were senior in my practice, senior from me
Mm-hmm.
in practice, right? There were
Yeah.
doctors also. That really gave me some kind of like, like a power of confidence. And you realize, ki, okay, I can also do this. And we did some like mock patient interviews that time and some counseling
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
So the retreat, Dana can tell us a little bit more about the next one, maybe, but I really recommend it the first time. If not the next one, you can at least plan to come at some point because
Yeah.
meeting other peers, in person really helps out. And we have like, I mean, it was 2, 3 years ago, we still have that group and we still chat. 10, 11 of us all still keep talking. We
Amazing.
exchange notes. We are still buddies.
I missed you on that retreat. I went to the
Yes.
next retreat.
Yeah.
Amazing. So,
Yeah.
Tamanna, what are your goals for the future? What do you see in your upcoming future for the for lactation?
Sure. So, earlier this year, I also took the HTTP course, which is the Hospital Team Training Program via BeginEd. I haven't been able to train anybody, but that is something I really want to do, like training a group of nursing staff or people who are maybe not ACLPs, LP, they're not thinking of taking ACLP or the CLP course, but the
Mm-hmm.
hospital training course. So, I want to do that. That is something that is on my agenda. And
Okay.
the hospitals, I have spoken to them again. Now, this is something that I would prefer not to do for free, but hospital would love it for me to do it for free. So we are negotiating. And for the nursing staff, it's a very nice course that you kind of they will then become such good support people, not just to me, but to breastfeeding mothers or nursing mothers or NICU mothers when I'm not around. That's also very important because I'm one person and I'm definitely not visiting everybody all the time. So
Yeah.
having that support, I'm still like casually I do keep training the nurses. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they go in with me also in the counseling sessions. But if we have a proper
Proper
training where
training,
they are
definitely.
given all the content that they require to be, a better lactation support people, then that is something that is I want to do. And like I said, I want to manage my time better. I am still a little scattered where I'm not able to say no, or sometimes I'm running from one hospital to the other where I've decided that no, today I'll only go to one. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes
I think we
that
all have
happens.
those phases. We all have these phases where we go on an overdrive and then we take a pause and then again it's an overdrive.
Correct, correct.
So
So
yeah.
that is something that I probably want to do. And of course, I want to lactation also better. There are some lot of interesting cases. So then I want to document enough to maybe present a case study. So far, I've
Yeah.
not been able to do that. Like I do feel that okay, oh, this one, because that person has followed up with me, and so I want to
Mm-hmm.
do my documentation better. That is
Okay.
also a goal, I would guess. And of course, more awareness about the lactation field, more collaborations. I would want to know more people in Jaipur that I could refer people to for
Okay.
things that I'm not able to help them. And same thing
Mm-hmm.
nationally, though the grad group does help me, when I have like somebody from Delhi or somebody from a city that one online consultation they've done with me. Now, if they need another one, usually I refer them to somebody in person. If they're
Okay.
not in my city, so that is also something that I would encourage others to do as well. And I've also got recent referrals from, like, for example, Millie from Baroda had sent me somebody, and the
Yeah.
patient came in, we met, and hopefully things will go better. So referrals are something that I would want to do more also.
More of. And we
Yeah.
also have the LP as a very good platform for collaborative
Yes.
work.
Absolutely. And I'm also, yeah, I've also joined Alpi, and, doing the Alpi meets also helps because again, like sometimes you might know gain a little bit of new knowledge and like, oh, and it clicks to somewhere which was a part was missing. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, that is what this can
definitely.
connect to that. Definitely.
Because the field we are in is a very lonely field. Lactation is a very lonely profession. So when we have this community system, we have people to brainstorm, we have people to talk about it, and then we try to make more sense of our own experiences also.
True, true. And not just lonely, and I don't know about other places, but Rajasthan, still the awareness is, it's increasing for sure. But
Yeah.
people are like, Acha, what do you do? Not the doctors and all that. And sometimes even doctors, because they're like, Acha, oh, this is a course for this, and you're
Mm-hmm.
qualified. And so, yeah, sometimes that also can put you down. You feel like people are
Yeah.
keeping on doubting you, right? Like how AI is getting rid of so much work. So many people are
Yeah.
losing their work because of AI. And you feel that, but you have to be confident. You have to be so sure that you know what you're
100%.
doing. And you should be confident enough to explain to them, tell them what you do. So even when in social gatherings, if I tell them I'm a lactation professional, so people who had a good breastfeeding journey are like, oh, really? Like, is that even something? And people who've had even little challenges be like, oh, wow, that's so awesome that you're doing this. So that's also
Amazing.
really nice when you hear that.
True, true. That's so true. So I'm just going to call upon Dana quickly for this question.
Sure.
Dana, so we have a question from one of the grads about after graduating as ACLP, can we open a private lactation clinic, and what are the requirements in terms of documents, basic infrastructure requirements?
So every state, every city will have different legal procedures, registration requirements, things like that. And so you have to know according to your region, according to your city. But if you use the word clinic or OPD, that means outpatient department, um, then you come under medical jurisdiction. And so we
Mm.
always recommend using a word that doesn't pull you under medical jurisdiction.
Yeah.
If you are a pediatrician, OB-GYN, physiotherapist, then you have different capabilities because your primary degree is medical. Otherwise, we call our places center.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of other words. Mostly center. Center is a generic term. And so what you want to do is choose language that doesn't pull you under medical jurisdiction, because we do not provide medical services, but lactation support services, unless your primary degree is medical. And then second of all, I would move towards registering something. And so as an Indian citizen, the easiest pathway is a sole proprietorship. And so establishing a legal structure that will support the work that you do, you want to do this professionally. And so that is the easiest path as an Indian citizen. We can send you different links and resources about that. But you want to move towards making it as legitimate, as legal, as recognized as possible. You don't want to just take cash and do it under the table. That doesn't show professionalism. That will pull you into tax liability. And so as citizens of India, we have requirements to pay taxes. And in the work we do, we pay work-based taxes. And so it's better to establish yourself in that, have a way to write an invoice or an estimate. Many of us use Zoho. There used to be QuickBooks in India, but now it's Zoho Books. So that's what we use for accounting systems. But sometimes in the beginning, we don't need Zoho. We just start with a proper Google Sheet or a spreadsheet to keep records of our clients. And then also logging your clients and having consents for being seen by you in order, like Tamanna said, I don't write a diagnosis, I don't write a medical history, but I do write a lactation care plan. And so you keeping records of that, and then also giving a copy to the families you see, consenting for photos. That's a huge thing, right? We want to expand our clinical photos, and we want to share it with other lactation professionals as we're supporting each other. And so that brings up a whole lot of legal issues, right? Especially when we're photographing a private space, a breast, a baby space. We want to make sure we're doing that in the most legal way possible. Those are the main things that I can think of right now. but every region, every state, every city will bring other questions. So find people doing the work. And we should not be a community where we're like, I can't tell Tamanna, I can't tell Ayisha because then they're going to steal my clients. Who cares? There's so many births in every city every day. If you have
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
mindset of, oh no, they're going to steal my clients, then that's going to be a short career for you. We need to be with each other. We need to be for each other. We need to cover for each other. Sometimes I want to take a couple weeks off. And so I want to have coverage. And if you're not making friends and allies in your community, yes, you will feel alone. So change your mindset. We call it abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. We're not all fighting for clients. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, crores of thousands of millions. My numbers don't always translate so well to India, but there are so many births every day, and every family could use someone like you to come alongside them. So please be on a team with people in your city and in your region and say thank you and support each other. So I think that's the best way to start. So that was a long answer. It's not easy, but we're in this together.
True, true. So well put,
So
Dana, because I
I'd
think
like
it's
to
a reminder
add
we all need also.
I'd like to add one point. So even so, for example, in my uh, private space now, we will not call it consulting chamber, but in my counseling space, I call the clients, I tell them clients. Like, if I have somebody else coming, I say I have the next client instead of patient, because patient becomes like a medical terminology. And online also, it just says, like, if you Google it, it just says like my name and counseling, lactation counseling. And yes, I also have a sole proprietorship that I registered. And under that, then I'm doing these sessions. So at the hospital, I don't have an option but to sit in OPD. But technically, yeah, they call themselves patients. But when I refer to them, I usually say clients.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing, Tamanna.
Yeah,
Um, I'm just looking through the other questions. So I think we will
questions.
take one last question because I think we're
Sure.
almost at
And
11:50.
before that, I wanted to kind of chime in with one important thing that when we meet patients, like even before this, Aisha and I were just chatting and we were kind of getting a sense of how the session will go. I asked her about language. So, which language to use with your clients is also something that you should right away see what they're comfortable with. If it's English, go ahead with English. Like I said, Rajasthan, most people are comfortable English and Hindi. I am from Gujarat. I speak Gujarati also. So, if I sense that they're more comfortable, though my Gujarati is not as good anymore. But I do try to use the regional languages also, so they're more at ease. Especially if somebody say the young couple is maybe absolutely okay with English, but maybe they have a dadi with them, maybe they have mother-in-law with them, then we have to make sure that everybody feels comfortable uh, while
Definitely.
the session is going on.
Yes, yes, that's so true. That's how they open up, right? That's when they're more
Yeah,
connected to you to listen to you. So I'm taking one last question and then I will wind up. How to gain practical knowledge after completing the course? Do hospitals allow us to practice? I am from Chennai, currently doing ACLP course. Um, yes, Tamanna.
sure. Right. So, yeah, I also, joined the hospital right after my ACLP course. Hospitals will be accepting. Of course, you will take some time to kind of get your footing. But yeah, you just start. And if you can, get into if you can check with Dana if there's some mentorship option available online. Maybe you can do one or two online sessions with somebody who has already done the ACLP course and working in the hospital space before you start your own thing. Reach out through Begin Ed. Maybe if they can organize something like that. Dana, is that something possible? Like, is that an option that people can do that? Like mentorship, mentoring sessions or
Yeah, and so it can start with me, but it also is connecting you with more experienced people in your region, in your city, and so we can do that too. So absolutely.
right? Like I'll also be happy to, do an online session with somebody who wants to kind of move forward from ACLP to a hospital setting. We can always do one or two video calls and if that helps you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, Sharmila, one thing I would like to say, this is something we discussed in the on the move also, that in when you're starting off, I think you should just be greedy about opportunities. Even if you don't get to do much, even the observation part and looking through what's happening, just being in that space, seeing what the doctor's saying, seeing how the nurses are responding, that is a great amount of learning, which I think will help a lot. So grab every opportunity you get, just from every place. I think that will enhance your growth and it will make you a lot more confident. And in Chennai, we are fortunate that we have a lot of spaces that recognize lactation. So I think you can venture out. Do feel free to reach out. We have wonderful mentors here in Chennai who will be more than happy to help you.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast episode. Please like it, please share it in your networks, subscribe to this podcast. We look forward to having more and more episodes as we grow and learn together in the lactation field.